It's after midnight, and it's time for conversations about love, family, friends, sex, and life. It's Love and Life with Carol Riddick and Donovan West, only on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family. Hey, you. I hope you're having a great start to your day, your week, and your year. And I pray that your journey to wellness is coming along positively. Welcome to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. So, here we are, family. It is now the end of January. Oh, OMG. And we're knocking on February's door. Wow. Anyway, I really hope that this start to your year is coming along wonderfully. And I want you to know that, we always keep you in our prayers here. Your Love and Life family. You know that your WURD family always keeps you in our prayers because we love you all. But I want to know how you're making out so far this year. I want to know how. Donovan and I both want to know how. And you can let us know how by emailing us. I want you to email me and tell me what's going on, how you're making out in your journey, how that resolution that you talked about, that you started or maybe didn't start. Let's talk about those things. Let's talk about everything because that's what we do here, right? But in any event, I can't talk today. I don't know what's happening. I want you to email us at loveandlife@wordradio.com. That's love and life at WURDradio.com. So I told you that we care. You know that we care. And as I speak of the we, you know what I'm talking about. It's the entire WURD family, but you see I'm flying solo. I know. You can tell that I'm flying solo. My trusty partner, my beloved partner in crime is not here with me at the moment. He is just taking a short hiatus as he embarks on one of the branches in his journey. But he sends his love. He does. He's clowning me from wherever he is. How about that? I don't miss that because you know he was always clowning me. I want to share something with you. I want to share with you our guests. I'm not even going to talk too long about this. I want to share with you our guests today. We have two incredibly talented and beautiful young ladies who've come to share with us what they're doing, who they are, what life has been and is right now with and for them. You're going to meet BENITA DOWDELL-PRICE. You're going to meet Tiara Parker. I'm going to let you know a little bit about each. So Tiara, she's a Philadelphia native whose passion is to fight for change that the world needs. And she believes that it more importantly deserves. I believe that too. How about that? She is a survivor of the Pulse nightclub shooting that happened in Orlando, Florida on June 12th in 2016. I don't know if you all remember that, but it was horrible. It was a horrible tragedy. And she lost one of her family members, her beloved cousin, Akira Monet Murray, on the night of that tragedy. So we're going to talk to her briefly about that and talk to her find out how that affected her, but as a result of that, she is dedicating her life to honoring her cousin and those killed by gun violence. She is the founder of the Global Activists Awards. I want to hear more about that. I want to hear all about that. Actually, it's an organization that honors activists all over the world who are fighting for change. I believe that we need that, y'all. We need that. First of all, we need change, as you know, because there's so much going on. We talk about it all the time here on the show. In any event, she's also a professional makeup artist, a speaker. Do you hear me? Do you hear me, y'all? Somebody help me. She's a speaker and data analyst. I think I need a do-over. Because Donovan, you know what Donovan would say if he was here right now? He would say, I've been drinking, and I have not. All I've had is water. So I'm going to need y'all to just pray for me really quickly, okay? As I get myself together, because I don't know what's happening on today. In any event, she is also one of the directors of Victims First and is an advisor for Pride Fund to End Gun Violence. Okay, I finally got that out. So let me tell you about Benita before I bring them into the room. Benita Dowdell-Price. She is an MED. Well, she has her MED and is a sexologist with a long history of sexual education. Now, let me tell you, I've known Benita for a very long time. And I'm thinking, the Benita I know is a sexologist. You mean I can go ask her questions? I don't want to do it, y'all. I don't want to do it. In any event, she has a long history of sexual education, activism, and facilitation. She has a master's degree in human sexuality and sexual education from Widener University. Now, what she will tell you is that her activism, it may not always be on the front line, but you can best believe you can count on it to be present in her classroom. That's what she says. That's what she says. Her passion lies in working within communities of color to ensure equity and quality in comprehensive, sex-positive sexual education. I can't wait to have this conversation. Her main focus includes, but is not limited to, building a strong sense of community amongst communities of color and helping individuals. Lord have mercy. Currently, she's working for Drexel University as a program coordinator in a teen and young adult center. And she is also the co-founder of the organization of which I spoke, which is called the Global Activists Awards. Okay, I'm going to bring them into the room because I've fallen over everything I've said thus far, and I want to stop doing it. So family, please welcome Benita Dowdell-Price and Tiara Parker. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hi, good morning.
Y'all hear me? I don't know what's happening with me. I don't know what's going on. I can't talk. I can't speak.
I get it.
OMG. This is water, by the way. It is water. It is water.
You sure?
Girl, it is. I can't handle anything. There would be no conversation. I can't handle anything. I can't handle anything. That's why Donovan always teases. Let me slow down. Donovan always teases me because when I fall over my words, he says, "What's in that cup?" Or "What are you drinking? What does she have?" Because he knows I can't drink nothing. So, as you can tell, I'm always excited for our shows because I'm always excited to share with our family members, our incredible guests, because you two ladies are amazing. You are really amazing. And I applaud your efforts. We applaud your efforts. Can you both tell us a little bit about yourselves, from where you come? Now, we know, Tiara, you're a Philly native. Benita, I know, but our family members don't know. So can you individually tell us who you are and from where you come?
Go ahead, T. Go ahead, T.
I thought you will go first, Nita. So, I am, well, of course, I'm from Philadelphia. From West Philly specifically, but that's where I currently reside anymore. Well, I reside on the borderline of it, but you get through that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you have any siblings? Are you?
I have one little brother.
Okay.
I'm engaged to be married next year, and yeah. So I guess I'm.
Well, congrats on that. How do you leave? How do you say, "Yeah, I'm from West Philly"? That's it. And then, how do you pause on "I'm engaged to be married next year"? Oh, heavens to Murgatroyd! Congratulations to you. That's a wonderful blessing. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Ms. Benita.
My name is Benita. I am also born and raised West Philly girl. I just be out here chilling. trying to mind my business.
She said, I'm just out here chilling. Hello, Miss Sexologist.
I just be trying to be out here chilling, help people educate themselves about themselves. That's all.
I love that.
I just gotta help.
I love that. No, I really do. I love the spirit of service that you both share. I really, really appreciate that. So tell me, how did you two meet? Uh-oh.
We met at a place I no longer speak of.
Okay.
But she's probably the only person that I took out of there. That like I consider family. I mean, everyone that I met there were great, but the organization wasn't.
Understandable.
But I will say that I met her at work. We were work friends, and it's just really funny because when I met her, I always told I didn't like her at first. I was I'm such a closed person sometimes, but I got to know her on a different level, and her family has been her and her family have been very supportive of me straight from the gate, from the moment they met me. I think to this very day, I still go to family dinners. I do all the holidays. I participate in all of the holidays. Family events where, there's just like, hey, we're just doing something today. Are y'all coming? So I could safely say that I could be another addition to their family. Her mom is like mom. That's my godmother. And I call her godmother not be like in the sense of the church wise, like church, idea, but the fact that like it in my darkest hours, her family was there for me. So I have to say that it's just been a journey. So I have to say it's been great knowing Benita and her family, and I can hope to continue to take that on with me throughout the years.
Tiara, I can say that too. The Dowdells. Okay, I can say that too. So you all met at a place where you formerly worked, and you formed this friendship and this bond, and then you get to. How do you get to? I mean, becoming, co-founders of an organization. How do we get to? I don't really like her. Well, she might be cool. All right, I'll see you on Sunday at dinner. To yeah, girl. So what we have to do next is okay. So how do we get there? How does that?
I just want you to know our conversation actually go like that. They actually are like that.
That's a beautiful thing, though.
Yeah, it is. And I have to say, so there was a long time. Let me tell you something. Like, I can toot my horn a little bit. I usually don't. But, I have done a lot of work and I have a lot of experience on a lot of things. But one thing that was really hard for me was trying to find a job a few years ago. And when I did get one, it was almost snatched from under me. So it was really one of those things. Like, it was really, really hard for us. And I said, I made a promise to myself that, that will never, ever happen to me again, ever. Because it was a scary thing. Like, I had just started driving. Benita and them taught me how to drive, by the way. So, like, and this woman who lives in California taught me how to drive. So, it was really one of those things where I'm like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? So, and I've talked about this like in conversation that we had, but I kept saying I wanted to have an event. It started out with wanting to have an event for my birthday. So, and I was just like, well, nah, I got to do something a little bit more than that. And like, we were sitting at her dinner table. This conversation started 4:00 in the afternoon. It was like 12:00 at night by the time we got done doing what we were doing. So we literally went from ha ha he he to like, yeah.
No, but for real.
Serious, like really fast, because I had a nervous breakdown in 2018 at her house. So it was really ugly. And, I was mean, but I was mean because I went through so much hurt, Carol. Like I had to rumble through it. Like I had to fight through that because it was really hard for me because I was losing faith within myself. I used to be this really, well, I still am, but at the time, my mind was completely closed to what I used to do and what I could be. So, Like it literally took depression. That's the best
Mm-hmm.
I would say
Mm-hmm.
is depression and anxiety. It got the best of me and it took over. And then I let people have power over me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about me. So I was
Mm.
talking about what I wanted to do and how I wanted to start this. It just hit the ground running. The first event, honestly, we were like, all right, this is really new. I know how Philly is. I love my people. I love my town,
Mm-hmm.
but I love my city. But I know how we are, and I know how we can be. It's real cliquey here sometimes, and it's hard to break into the different areas. But we hit the ground running doing this, and
Mm-hmm.
big shout out to Benita for being the support system. But also, I have to give myself some kudos with this because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
my story and me actually having to tell it, because I wouldn't tell you my story. If you didn't see me like on the media or anything, you will never know. I'm not going to tell you. So it took me to actually start sharing my story and talking about it and the things I wanted to do this. And that's how it just went. It literally went from high, like I said, hi, he, to
Mm-hmm.
get real serious real fast.
I want to address something that you said. You said, I just want to take this minute, just to give myself some kudos. We should always do that. We should always, we've been talking about that a lot on the show lately, because it's important that we recognize and we accept and that we support and pour into ourselves, and I'm only saying to you what I say to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only saying to you what I say to me. I think as human beings and as people of service, we get used to doing for everybody else. I'm crying as I say this. We get used to doing for everybody else. We get used to, being the hamster on the wheel. Oh, somebody needs me. Somebody needs this or somebody needs that.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we neglect ourselves.
Always.
And we also miss when there are someone or others who are waiting right there to help us. We don't see it because we're so busy helping other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to recognize the both of you. I want to, to say kudos to you, for, starting your journey, as I keep saying, starting your journey to positivity and to wellness and well-being, and you too, for Benita, for your own journey and for helping her along hers, because we need that. We need that because, hey, that's how we balance. Because there'll be a time, Benita, when you can be like, okay, girl, look, I don't have the bandwidth for anything right now. I need you, and that's how it works. That's called being a human being, and that's called sharing. That's demonstrating the God in us. So I love at the core of who the two of you are to one another, that you recognize your friendship, you recognize the spirit of service, you recognize, what, I can trust you and you can trust me. You recognize that. I want to ask you to tell us, Tiara, I want to know a little more, if you don't mind sharing, about the experience at Pulse Nightclub in 2016 and how it relates to your journey now.
Absolutely. So again, this was a few years ago. Absolutely not. But like today, at this very moment, it's not an issue. I don't mind sharing it because I didn't realize how much it affected people that may not have been directly there.
Mm-hmm.
I was so busy in the vortex that I forgot there were people who actually cared about me. That were affected by this too, and I didn't realize the gravity of that, even with my fiance too. So that was something that I learned that was really new for me, and I didn't know that he went through what he went through just behind that by itself. So on June 12, 2016, that day prior, we had just went to Florida for vacation.
You know what? Wait, I want to stop you right there because we're going to have to take a break, and I don't want to stop you in the middle of your story.
Oh, sure.
Family, don't be mad at me because I know you want to hear this story because I want to hear this story too. And we are going to hear her story when we come back from our commercial break. For those of you who are just joining us, you are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURD radio.com. But I tell you what, you stay with us, okay? because we will be right back.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, that's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
We're often influenced by what we see or hear on social media. Beware of disinformation campaigns targeting Black communities by using cultural issues to incite divisions, spread false information, and negatively influence public opinions. We're in this together, and together we can stay informed and empowered. Learn more at nbcit.org. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. You know I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is in everything. Even when you think things could never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask. When you need me, I'll be by your side.
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Independent Black Media.
Well, hey there, family. Welcome back. You're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. And we've been talking with none other than Benita Dowdell-Price and Tiara Parker, who are joining us to share with us their journey. And I'm going to say that with an ellipsis because it's a packed journey. But before the break, Tiara was about to share a story with us and how there was a pivot in her journey and that brought her to where she is now. So Tiara, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much especially for your wonderful introduction of us. I would have to say, it was a lot going on during that time period anyway. However, June 12th was what was supposed to have been the start of our annual family vacations I used to take with my family all the time. The day we had just arrived the day before, but we really didn't get settled in until June 12th, like that morning, early, like 2:00 in the morning.
Okay.
And so, we literally like relaxed for the whole day. And, we were there supposed to be there for a week. So we were kind of planning out our week. And I know usually when we get down there, we go food shopping, things like that. So fast forward, we had a full day ahead. And my cousin Akira, she was like, you know what? We on vacation. Let's go out. I'm like, okay. So it was myself, most of my family, and then like a old friend of mine. We all went, and we were excited because this was my friend's vacation at the time, first family vacation rather, and we do these all the time. So I was so confident about this trip. Like I'm like, oh, I just know she's gonna enjoy herself because we have a ton of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to go out. Fast forward to that. We're getting dressed. We found somewhere to go. My cousin and her mom sat down and decided to look into some places for us to go that would be one age appropriate because I was 20, so was my friend, and my cousin had just turned 18.
Okay.
So it was like we have to find somewhere that's appropriate for both of us if we're gonna be going out, and it's kind of late, so we had to look. And we found somewhere called Pulse. And we were like, okay, well, let's go. That's the only place. We don't know Florida. So this is the first one. We see a lot of reviews, a lot of pictures on it. Let's go. So we get there. We go running across the street to the 7-Eleven to see who's going to get to the Mac machine first because now, what we call it in Philly, Mac machines, but the ATM.
Right.
We
do.
Yeah, because anywhere else, when I said Mac machine down there, it was like,
what is that? Yeah.
So we went to the ATM and we got to the ATM. When we got to the ATM, we withdrew money. Somebody bought something so we can get money so we can get into the club. It was $10 cover charge. So we get in there. I mean, we had a ball for the entire night. Like we had, it started out with just us three together to now we have like a crowd of people with us dancing, and we did like a mini Soul Train line circle situation that was happening in there. I mean,
y'all brought Philly to the club.
It was the 2 Live crew. I mean, so we had a good time. So I mean, I literally had a good time. We had a good time. It was it was awesome. Up until the night of closing, we were going to order a car service to go home. And when I went to order it, I hear these bangs. We all heard them, but like we thought because it's like 4 different DJs in this club, 3 or 4.
Wow.
Yeah, it's huge. So we didn't know what it was. We figured it because one part of the club was playing like reggaeton and Spanish music, and because it was Latino night. Apparently, I found that out later. Then you would think that's where it's coming from, but outside is playing the island music, like Caribbean.
Right.
And then like on the side that we were on, they were playing like modern day today music. So it could have been coming. It's like 3 DJs actually. It could have been coming from anywhere.
Okay.
So we didn't think nothing of it, but then they started to be consistent and louder, and now we're hearing the screams. So now my cousin and my friend, they dropped to the floor like, what is going on? And I'm like, what's going on?
Right,
Like,
right.
trying to figure out, like, okay, I hear what y'all hear, but I don't see what's happening. And then you see people, because the way that it was kind of like a circle in a sense, because you could walk around the whole club in a big circle. So, like, you went through one door, you end up in one part, go to the other door, you end up in the other part, and you come back in, you go through the other part. Like, it is kind of like that.
Okay.
And you see the people running through the other door at the end where we were, because we were near an exit. So we see people running, and we're like, oh my God. And then the what we thought were like parts of the music, it was actually gunshots. So my cousin and my friend like kind of slid out of that door. I'm still like limbo. So I'm still standing there. And I'm like,
in shock.
Yes, complete shock. And I didn't know what to do, but they came, like, everything was moving in slow motion. I never told nobody this part because so much was going on. Like, I always thought people would think I was kind of crazy or something. So I never, but like, I was literally felt like I was moving in slow motion. And literally, like, everything was in slow motion. Like, it was kind of like a movie. And I just remember my friend and my cousin, like, when they ran back in to get me, and they're yelling in my face, but it's like muffled in my, like, to my mind, it's muffled. I just see they're yelling, but then when I finally came to, they're like, these are gunshots, see, we gotta go. And they followed me because I ended up turning into the bathroom. And I don't know why I made that decision, because the exit door, us, goes the bathroom. I never, that math didn't math to me at all for a long time. I didn't realize why I did that. I think I beat myself up for years about that. So it was just, it really was like it was crazy. And we ended up stuck in a stall. So my friend at the time thought they were playing, like this was a joke. And so she was like, all of this to get us out of the club? Like, we could have just left, and so on and so forth. And she's like kind of getting some of it on Snapchat. And I'm like, no, this ain't real. And I remember this woman running up, like being behind me when we ended up in the bathroom stall. And she was just like, I've been shot. Can you help me? And I'm like, girl, you ain't get shot. That's exactly what I told her. Like, oh my God, if I ever could figure out who that was, I would so apologize. Because I didn't believe her. I didn't believe it was hitting. So when I saw the blood, and then I realized that this person was actually shooting, because the screaming, I'm looking at I start to come to reality, like seeing all the people on the floor and in the stall with us. It was like 10 or 20 of us in this one stall. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I just know that the gunman came in the bathroom and started shooting into the stalls. And he shot in the one stall, killed everyone in that stall. Shot in the second stall, killed everyone in that stall. He got to our stall, and I remember hearing him say, damn, my gun's jammed. And, like, I looked at my cousin, I looked at my friend, I looked at my cousin and my friend again, we looking at each other. I'm like, we could bum rush him. We can get him out of here, because it's all of us in here. He not going to be able to do it, and his gun is jammed. I'm completely unaware that he was fully equipped for more violence. And the man at the stall door, when he finally got the memo, like, we was gonna go out there and bum rush this man, he opened fire in the stall. The man who opened the door got away, but I was shot. My cousin was shot. Anybody who was in that front line of that stall was shot. I got gun wounds in my arm. I got gun wounds in my side, my abdomen, like right under my left breast. And then I have a graze wound on my hip, and I had burn marks on my back for a while, and from the guns ricocheting. But that's later down the line. But when I first was initially shot, it felt like I was hit with a sledgehammer. Like, as if full force by someone who bodybuilds for a living. I remember that pressure because I couldn't even scream. I just remember holding my breath. And I remember, I remember coming out of it and realizing my cousin slams that bathroom door shut. She said, "Are you being weird? please stop shooting. And I just remember running up and holding the door. But I remember, so as you can see, my nails are pretty long. I've been getting this nail style for years. And I dug my finger in my side because I didn't believe that this was actually happening. And I pulled my hand out and there was blood everywhere. And I'm just like, oh. And I passed out. And I don't have a fear of blood. I guess it was like the shot. And once I got through that process, I decided that I woke up and I see my cousin was kind of leaning up against the wall because she was shot in her arm. And I just remember shaking my head. And then I remember reaching for my friend to see if she was okay. And she threw her hand up like, I'm fine. I'm like my heart stopped because she didn't respond to me right away. So, but she was saying she was okay. And I tried to get up. That was not an option. I remember them looking at me like, sit down. Because my initial reaction is to fight. So even though I was shot first, my next reaction is to fight. So it's either fight or flight. And I'm always going to fight you. So.
Right.
And I couldn't get up. So we was in that bathroom hostage for hours. I remember listening to people fall asleep. I remember watching this man toss and turn for hours until he finally just stopped. And I remember seeing someone in the stall. Like, I remember one of the family members, because I still talk to them to this day. Their son was there, and he was giving me the middle, like the thumbs up, and like telling me like to keep holding the door because my cousin couldn't anymore. And I remember the gunman looking under the stall, and like he laughed, like he thought this was a game, like as if he was playing Call of Duty or something, and it just was coming to life for him, and he threatened to blow the whole city up. Blow the club up with bombs, and he was on the phone with them. He was talking to us. It's a mess. It was a mess.
I want to take just a moment, if I might. First, because as I'm processing all of the information that you're sharing, first, thank you, number one, for sharing and being vulnerable in this space and with me and with us. I'm trying to process everything you're saying, and I can't. I mean, you always say what you would do if you're in a particular scenario or situation, but I cannot begin to imagine. I cannot begin to. I'm still trying to process you saying that. Family, first of all, family. If you've just joined us, you're tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at WURDradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. And I asked Benita and Tiara to come and talk with us today about their journeys and about their about being women of service, about helping others and how they're helping others to heal. And I know there's just not enough time, because as we're talking and listening to Tiara share the story of her experience, and I know, family, we remember, because you just don't forget that. And we weren't even there, but you just don't forget that. I remember, how I felt when receiving the news of everything and of all of the tragedies and everything that had taken place. But Tiara is sharing the story with us of when she and her cousin had gone to Pulse nightclub in Florida on June 12th, was it, in 2016. And the incident that occurred, and Tiara was just sharing with us how she herself had been shot. I did not know you had been shot. Now I did not know that. I was really focused. And I'm going to be completely open, honest, and transparent, as I am, family. You know me. Yeah. I wanted to hear your story, how you got to, where you are, to where the two of you came to helping others. But it's so important to hear from where you came and to understand so much about that. And I'm sorry that I'm talking so much, but I want you family members to understand what we're saying and what's going on here. But I can't imagine being in that bathroom. Yeah. You said for hours, and this gunman comes in, and this was this wasn't by accident. This wasn't, he made a conscious effort, followed with a conscious decision to come into that bathroom.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Family, we're about to take another commercial break, and I think it's a good idea that we do so. So we take some extra breaths, and then I get myself together. You've lived with this, and here I am processing information that you just shared. Wait. Oh, but Tiara, Benita, hold on. Family members, you hold on too, because we're going to come back and we're going to talk some more about everything. Okay, so stay with us because we'll be right back.
I'll never forget the day I nearly died. I was a young journalist with a great career, starting a family. The only way we found out I had any kind of heart issue was when I went into sudden death. My coworkers sprung into action. They've recently been trained in life-saving CPR protocols developed by the American Heart Association. They're the ones that kept me alive until the medics came. They did many tests on me in the hospital after my cardiac arrest and created a treatment plan, all with research from the American Heart Association. I think unless you are a heart disease patient, you may not know how much work the American Heart Association does behind the scenes to save your life. Since my cardiac arrest, I've had 2 more children. I've watched all 3 of my children grow into adulthood. I'm going to cry now. Graduate from college. My daughter got married. I have grandchildren. And I'm still here.
Learn more about the American Heart Association's work at helpheart.org.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Everyone loves a champion. Someone whose performance puts them head and shoulders above the rest. But not all champions wear a medal or hoist a trophy. At the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, we see champions everywhere we look. In every sport, on every court, we're building a foundation to ensure all athletes are safe, supported, and strengthened. We believe abuse can be prevented by taking a hard look at how we coach, how we train, and how we interact after the last whistle. We have provided over 2 million safe sport trainings. At the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, ending abuse is not just our job. It's our promise.
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is him. Every day he's hungry for something. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as it's coming from love, then it kind of starts to work itself out.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka The Fence, seared with history and brazen culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food History and Culture, every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Independent Black Media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You're tuned into Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. We've been talking with both Tiara Parker and BENITA DOWDELL-PRICE. Tiara shared with us a story that, OMG, what I'm going to ask you to do is that if you have just tuned in and you didn't hear it, I'm going to ask you to go back so that you can hear the entire story, because the remainder of this time, because we don't have a whole lot of time left, I would love for you to know what they're doing and how they're helping others as a result of the journeys that they've had thus far. I am in no way discounting Tiara's story, Tiara. And I want to say this because I don't want anybody to believe or think that I am. I am in no way discounting Tiara's story because I think it was so important to share. And I would love to have you both back so we could talk more about it. But now, please, please, please tell us about the organization, because we love to help and we want to help you help others.
Yeah, so the Global Activist Awards stemmed from that. My story, I needing and wanting to do something, want to honor my cousin's name. She was killed that night. So she died in my lap, and I had to muscle through it. And I didn't know that she passed away in my lap until like the autopsy report came out later down the line. I never knew that was public record. But from that point forward, I needed to do something that was going to help me heal, but also be able to help those who helped me in a sense. So the Global Activist Awards came because it's a healing process for me. So helping other people has always been my thing before I ended up in that circumstance. So I kind of asked BENITA to kind of come with me and do this because she was also another person who kind of struggled in figuring out what direction to go with being the sexologist. And I'm like, well, this would be a perfect platform because this is something they no longer teach in the schools, and this is something that needs to be talked about because unfortunately we are in 2021 and 2021, and a lot of people don't understand that. So when asking her to do this, it was genuinely to make sure she had her own platform to stand on or could create one through this. And making sure that we are, it feels good when you're doing work when you're doing activism. It's a 9-to-5 job with little to no pay at all. I don't get paid for the work that I'm doing, but I hustle every day because at the end of the day, money will come. I'm not worrying about that. I really want people to know that I see the work that you're doing. This stuff is hard. So we just.
You're absolutely right about that. BENITA, I want to ask you, so this is a huge undertaking with all that you're involved in, and I know you to be a person of service as well. What was it about the Global Activists Awards that spoke to you most?
I think for me, it kind of helped in my healing journey too. I'm always the person in the background. Tiara's the little sister that's in the front, like, hey, hey, girl. And I'm just like, I'm the person looming in the back, right? But what a lot of people don't know is that I was supposed to be on that vacation. So I dealt with survivor's guilt and like putting my healing on the back burner because, again, a lot of what people don't know, I was the first person she talked to when she was in the hospital. I was the last person she talked to before they left the house, like stuff like that. So like I was holding on to all of those things. And, we sat down and we had a conversation and we're like, we had this like aha moment. Although we've been doing activism work all of our lives, we had this like strange light bulb moment where we're like, oh my God, we're really activists. Like, oh my God, like we're really activists. Like we really do this for real. So that's kind of was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So like as we continue to like as GAA kind of like snowballed into all of these things, it kind of was like a culmination of all of the things that we like to do. She loves to get dressed up. she loves to look like a girl, honey. She likes to look like a girl. She likes to get dressed up, which is how we started with the event, right? Because of course, who doesn't want to look good?
Mm-hmm.
So she likes to get dressed up. I like to get dressed up. So I was like, all right, so what are we doing? I love to put events together. So she was like, all right, well, let's do an awards gala. Yeah. And it kind of just like snowballed from there. So we're like, all right, well, what are we doing? How are we going to do it? So like all of these things just started coming out of the woodwork. And we was like, oh, did you think about this? Oh, what about that? So that's kind of how we kind of got to where we are.
I love how the two of you recognize each other's strengths, and you're just like, oh, well, that's what we need to do. I love that about the two of you. You know, not a lot of people.
We've always been that way.
I think that's a beautiful thing because, you know, sometimes, you know, the people from the outside looking in could potentially look at your strength negatively, you know what I mean? And speak on like, oh, all you want to do is, you know, blah, blah, blah. I love how the two of you embrace, you know, each other's differences. I love how I love that. That is a wonderful thing. And I think that as a result of it, everything that you do together, there's just there's just love in it and there's positivity in it. And I love that. I want to make sure everybody knows how to find you on your socials. Can you give us your social media handle before we close?
Sure. So you can follow us on Instagram at the Global Activist Awards. You can also search us on Google. You can search us on Facebook, Global Activist Awards. We also have a website, globalactivistawards.com.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't thank you both enough. And I always hate this moment as it comes because the show seems to go like so quickly. It seems to be gone. And there's so much more that I want to hear about all of what you're doing and have done and are going to do. How about that? But what we're going to do is follow you on your socials so that we can be kept up to date with what's to come. And would you both come back sometime and talk with us again?
Absolutely.
Yay. That's what we love. That's what we love. So on that note, I'm going to say, family, as we wrap up tonight's episode, I'm extending to you our utmost gratitude for all the love that you share, all of that good stuff. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. Special thanks to you, family. Special thanks to you for sharing your time, your energy, and your attention. To you, ladies, for sharing your time, energy, attention, knowledge, and all of that good stuff. You know what I tell you all the time. We're in this together. So be good to you, but be good to those around you. Have a great night, a great morning, and a great rest of your day. And be sure to tune in Sunday through Thursday for another edition of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. Have a good night, y'all.
Stand with WURD Radio, Pennsylvania's only black-owned talk radio station. Join the movement to keep the conversations going and amplify the voice of the black community. Show your support. Start or renew your WURD membership today at wordradio.com or call 215-425-7875.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player for the Indianapolis Colts. Becoming a running back was no easy task for me. But it's nothing compared to what my amazing mom faces every day. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14 years old. Yet she's always there for me, every step of the way, despite her own battles. And the Muscular Dystrophy Association is there for my mom. At their 150 care centers across the U.S., MDA is the leading organization in research and care for kids and adults with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and related neuromuscular diseases. Their research is helping find cures and save lives. Watching my mom go through her daily struggles and the care she receives from MDA has made me determined to help find a cure for neuromuscular disease. That is why I support MDA, and that's why I'm so grateful to others who do too. Join me and learn more at helpmda.org today.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media. Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Philadelphia.